everyone, so quite a while ago, it was like over a year ago, I did my first Books with Blair video, and it was basically just like a book review of the House of Night series, and I asked you guys, I do mainly like makeup tutorials and beauty videos, but reading is something that I like to do on the side just for fun. And I asked you guys, would you like me to do more book videos? And a lot of people said yes, but I don't know why. I just never really did them. My sister does a lot of book videos. Hers are called glitteratures, which I think is really cute because it's like girly book review kind of. She does a lot of them, so I'll link like a couple of her glitteratures in the bottom bar below. But I guess I started watching hers and I was like, I don't know. I decided that I couldn't do them quite as well as she can, but I read a lot just for fun and just for pleasure and stuff. So when I'm reading, I don't typically think to myself like, oh, I want to do a video on that book or anything. But I started reading The Happiness Project by Gretchen Rubin, and within probably the first 8 pages, I decided that when I finished this book, I wanted to do a Books with Blair video on it. So the cover says The Happiness Project, or why I spent a year trying to sing in the morning, clean my closets, fight right, read Aristotle, and generally have more fun, which just the cover itself spoke to me, and I got it for Christmas. And when I first read the little like insert or whatever, I thought to myself, I have 2 pages bookmarked, that's why I didn't like open it up. But I thought to myself, I was like, this is a self-help book for depressed people. I was like, I'm not depressed, I'm not unhappy at all. Like, I'm loving life. I don't technically need to be happier, but I always kind of have a motto, like, I feel like don't judge a book by its cover is a really good motto to go by, except if I was to judge on this cover, I would want to read it. So I kind of just make myself at least give a couple chapters a try before I decide if I'm gonna like the book or not. And I just want to let you guys know this isn't like a negative thing about the book or anything, but if you do decide to read this book, I definitely would recommend getting at least through the first chapter. After you get through that, it's like the best book ever. But for some reason, the first chapter, the author kind of goes and like cites a lot of different books that I had never read, so I almost felt a little bit like lost in the first chapter, but after you get through that, it's like a really great book. So basically, it is a book, and in the first chapter, she kind of talks about, her life. She lives in New York with her husband and her 2 young daughters, and she's just kind of talking about how she has a really great life and she's living every day, day to day, but she realized that she's not being as happy and as thankful and as I guess gracious and just as happy as she could be in life, and she's almost just like living life day to day, but she's not really taking it all in. She's not soaking it all in. So it was her 1-year project, and she was going to document the whole thing, which is what this book turned out to be, to decide to be happier. So that's kind of what spoke to me in the sense that it's not a self-help book, because I'm not, what she described herself saying, I'm not an unhappy person, I'm not depressed. If you are one of those 2 things, this book isn't for you. This is for if you live just kind of one of those average lives and you're kind of coasting by day to day. It's kind of one of those times where she said she realized that she wanted to change her life and just have more of a happy outlook on life. And it's proven that happy people, they live longer, they're healthier, they get sick less and stuff. And so I decided I was going to read the book, and the first thing that I kind of little bookmarked that I wanted to show you guys is in the first chapter, Getting Started, she wrote her 12 commandments, which are be Gretchen, let it go, act the way you want to feel, do it now, be polite and fair, enjoy the process, spin doubt, identify the problem, lighten up, do what ought to be done, no calculation, there is only love. So throughout the book, she goes month by month, like January, February, March, April, and she has like little goals for each month that I'll get to that in a second. But throughout those, she's also trying to remember her 10 commandments and her secrets of adulthood, which she wrote down, which I think are very funny, so I wanted to read them. Okay, so it's people don't notice your mistakes as much as you think. It's okay to ask for help. Most decisions don't require extensive research. Do good, feel good. It's important to be nice to everyone. Bring a sweater. By doing a little bit every day, you can get a lot accomplished. Soap and water remove most stains. Turning the computer on and off a few times often fixes a glitch. If you can't find something, clean up. You can't choose what you want to do. You can choose what you want to do. You can't choose what you like to do. Happiness doesn't always make you feel happy. What you do every day matters more than what you do once in a while, which this one spoke to me because, like, I feel like every day needs to be a little bit of an adventure. Even if it's that, you're going out to dinner, you don't go to your neighborhood restaurant, you drive 30 minutes away to a restaurant you've never been to before. When you think back on that day, you're gonna remember, oh, I did something that I wouldn't typically do. Make every day have a little bit of an adventure. So that one I really liked. You don't have to be good at everything. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough. Over-the-counter medicines are very effective. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, which is another thing that really spoke to me, because I feel like when I'm thinking about like, oh yeah, you're doing so well on that, or you're doing good, it's always in the back of my mind, like, you could be better, you could be perfect. But then you have to remember, like, it could be way worse. So I like that one as well. And then what's fun for other people may not be fun for you, and vice versa. People actually prefer that you buy wedding gifts off their registry. You can't profoundly change your children's nature by nagging them or signing them up for classes, which I don't have children and I won't for like a bunch of years, but I thought that, you know, that'll be good for me to know when I do decide to have kids. And the last one is no deposit, no return. So I really just liked that section. And then throughout the chapters, she kind of goes back to that. So for January, she decided that she would have a couple. Let me find where she lists what her January ones are. Okay, so her January like goals, and she has different goals for each month of the entire year. The January ones are go to sleep earlier, exercise better, toss, restore, organize, tackle a nagging task, and be more, or act more energetic. So the go to sleep earlier one, you know, she's talking about she has 2 young daughters, and when her husband and her, you know, they put them to sleep at night, and then afterwards they don't go to sleep till like maybe like 8 or 9 o'clock, and then that's her time that she can really have like one-on-one time with her husband. So like watching a movie or anything, but then she also has to get up at the same time her kids are getting up to get them ready and then go to school. So she's getting a lot less sleep, and she kind of talks about how in this first month she really just wants to make sure that she's getting enough sleep and stuff, and that's something that I never really thought would be difficult. Like, you want to get 8 hours of sleep every night, go ahead and do it. But she kind of talks about during it kind of how there were nights when she really wanted to stay up and watch the movie that her husband was watching, but she made herself go to sleep, and that within the first like 2 weeks she could really tell a difference in her energy and stuff. And then of course, you know, the exercise better and stuff, like all those, obviously, you know, we all want to exercise more, but she actually got one of those little pedometers that you strap like onto your pants or your shoe or whatever, and as you walk it counts your steps. And she said something like the average American walks, I don't remember what it was like 10,000 steps a day or something. And she said that she noticed that when she actually did a lot of walking throughout the day, that wasn't even that difficult, but just like walking her kids to school instead of driving them, things like that, she was clocking in way over like the 10,000 steps. And I don't know if that's the actual number, but you know what I mean. But then days when she was like driving everywhere and not really, you know, paying attention on walking everywhere, she was getting way under the 10,000. So it just kind of makes you realize, like, if you can walk to the place, why don't you walk? And so lately I've been walking to my grocery store. The only problem with that is if you get really heavy things like canned items or anything, my grocery store is pretty close. It's like 3 blocks away that I go to. But if I get canned items or anything, sometimes it's kind of hard for me to carry them home. So that's the only problem with that. Make sure that if you are walking somewhere, you're not planning on getting like really heavy things. Okay. And then she goes through ones like in February, one of her goals is remember love. So that's one where she kind of remembers that every day she's in love with her husband, she's in love with her kids, she needs to tell them that. So she talks about, you know, how she wants to tell them that she loves them every day, and then do something to show them that every day. Even if it's something super simple, like make them their favorite breakfast and surprise them. And it's something that it kind of made me want to, I was like, I want to remember love, you know? And then obviously like on the cover it says, you know, sing in the morning. She started, you know, singing in the shower every morning, and it really just made her happier throughout the day. It's clean my closet. She would clean out her closet. She actually talks about that in January. It was like toss, declutter, organize, or whatever that one was. She went through like things like her coat closet that was just so out there and so crazy, and she was like, you know, I made 3 piles. One was just things that just needed to be thrown away, one was things that I could give away, and one was things that I needed to keep, but I needed to organize them a little bit better. So she shows that if you tackle one small thing at a time, like just your coat closet, or just your junk drawer in the kitchen, or just the shoe section of your main closet, that little things like that throughout the days, they're really gonna get better. And then throughout the book, she kind of gives you some more tips, like, okay, so for me personally, like my jewelry armoire gets messy a lot because I have a certain place for everything, but if I'm just like running out the door and I put on a necklace and I decide it doesn't look as good as another one would, I'll take it off, but then I don't really take the time to hang it back up. She also says that if anything takes less than 1 minute or 60 seconds to do, not to walk away before you do it. You can give 60 seconds to, you know, do something. It would probably take me 10 to hang my necklace back up on the peg. So I've kind of been practicing that a little bit. And then I wanted to tell you guys at the end, okay, I'm trying to make sure this video isn't getting too long. At the end, it actually has a little section that I bookmarked for you guys that says, if you'd like to start a group for people doing happiness projects, email me through my blog for a starter kit. If you'd like to join an existing group, visit the Gretchen Rubin page on Facebook to see if a group has formed in your city. So I just wanted to let you guys know that there are Happiness Project groups forming in lots of cities. And you know, if that's something that you guys are interested in, I would definitely recommend it. This book is not one of those self-help books where you feel like you're reading a book that like they say you're going to change your life or anything. That's not what Gretchen is saying is going to happen, but she is saying that, you know what, if you sing in the shower every single morning, you're going to kind of go throughout your day humming a little bit and just kind of like bopping your head and thinking about the song, and it genuinely, it just like all over gives you a happier perspective on the entire just kind of like world. And also she talks about like, don't nag as much. Like when her kid would spill a glass of milk at the dinner table, don't immediately be like, oh my God, you know, just kind of be like, oh, you know, we all do that, you know, and it's something that obviously we've all spilled a drink at the table before, but it doesn't take a lot for you to just be like, oh, whatever, you know, we'll clean it up, instead of being like, oh my goodness, you know, it's not a big deal. Like we've all done it and stuff. And she kind of goes through some things like that. So I really just wanted to do a video on this book to show you guys, you know, what I really thought about it. I really love it. Now I am trying to do my own happiness project. So I wanted to ask you guys if you guys want to form a happiness project group where maybe every month we will update, you know, we'll start, even though it's, well, it is January. I was going to say, even though it's not January, it is January, but maybe we could start it in February, and each month we could just go, you know, from the first month, and then we'll end next February. Maybe I could do like a video every month on my progress, and then you guys could do video responses. And if you don't have a video camera, you could just like leave comments and let us know how you're doing. And I feel like that would be something, we all just need to be a little bit happier in life. And if you're a super happy person, then that is great. Maybe you don't need to do the happiness project, but even I am a very like, I'm the type of person, I'm very optimistic, I'm very happy all the time, but I've realized that there are certain things that'll make me happier. Like as soon as I started decluttering, like just starting like one drawer at a time, like just once a day decluttering, everything has its spot and everything is perfect, and it kind of just makes you have a sense of zen kind of come over you. So if you guys want to do the happiness project with me, leave it in a comment below that I should do that. Otherwise, if you guys think it's like kind of silly and you're like, ah, we could read the book on our own, then obviously leave me that too, because I don't want to do it. If no one's going to do the happiness project with me, then I'll just do it by myself. But I hope you guys enjoyed this Books with Blair video, and if you guys want me to do more, leave it as a comment below. Also, my favorite kind of books are just like young adult books. So if you guys have any that you think that I should read, leave them in the comments below, and maybe I will do a Books with Blair video review on it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you later.